Hi there, and welcome back to the people that are returning. A warm welcome to new people who might have stumbled upon my videos on YouTube. I'm Memo. I talk about my passion, which at the moment is houseplants and some of the rarer aroids, as well as some of the more common houseplants as well. I don't discriminate in that respect. All plants are beautiful in the eye of the specific beholder, essentially. So I talk a bit more about that. I post videos 2 to 3 times a week, and as a new YouTube content creator, it does really help if you do like the videos. Drop a like down below and subscribe to see when I've got new videos coming online. And what I will focus on is spotlighting or kind of highlighting a certain plant from my collection each time. And I'll talk a bit more about what I do to care for that plant, and that's mainly because from doing my own research online, there's not a lot that's being said about some of these plants in terms of care. So I thought at least I'll share my experiences, and hopefully it will help somebody else when they're getting some of these plants in their care as well. So you might already be able to see the plant that I'm going to be talking about today, and I do apologize about the volume of dust on these leaves. Please, please, please remember to dust your leaves. It will help the plant photosynthesize better, and please do as I say and not as I do. But this is the Philodendron Esmeraldense, and you can see the strut structure that I've got there in order to keep the plant upright. You might also be able to see how small the pot is in comparison to the size of the plant itself, and I'll explain that in a minute. But let me just move that slightly out of the way so we can have a chat. So as you can see, as I mentioned, the pot is quite small, but always please, please, please try to remember that you're potting to the size of the root ball and not the size of the plant itself. It does make it tricky, it does make it a bit top heavy, but you're more likely then to be able to control your watering and not overwatering, because if I was to give this a very big pot and the root system is quite small, there's a high propensity that I end up with something like root rot, and you definitely want to avoid that. The other thing that you can see obviously is all the strapping of the petioles, which is the section of the leaves that attaches to the main stem. And the reason why I've done this is because actually when this grows, it will grow in a more flat structure, and when it's sitting on a bench or when it's sitting on a shelf, it's very tricky for the leaves to grow in properly. So when they're growing very, very gently, I will try to kind of move them up and give them that support against that pole. What will happen is as soon as the root system develops a bit more, I will then up pot it into a bigger pot, and I will then put a moss pole on so it can attach and grow upwards, which to be fair is not far off where it is at the moment. You can see already that there is a new growth point coming in, and unfortunately this leaf you might be able to see here, that was a bit of an accident that happened, and I cannot tell you how annoyed I was a few weeks ago when it was growing in as a new leaf and it was still in its sheath. It got caught right next to the fan that I have in my plant room, and that corner of the leaf got ripped out. It's fine. It's okay. I mean, the leaf is got some damage on there, but the rest of the leaf is still growing happily. It's photosynthesizing, which is generating energy for the plant. It might not, that leaf specifically might not be Instagram worthy, but it's okay. As I keep mentioning, plants in nature are not perfect. I don't expect them to be the same in the household as well. In terms of watering, what I do with this plant is it gets watered every 2 to 3 days. Actually, no, 3 to 4 days is probably more accurate, and it gets fertilized every, I'd say 12 days roughly. It's sitting in a bright indirect light location, and it's sitting within my plant room, so it's getting about 60 to 70% humidity at any given time. So I've not had any pest pressures really with this, touch wood, but yeah, I mean, definitely one to consider getting if you can get your hands on it. I know it's quite a difficult one to find, but yeah, if you've got this plant in your collection and you want to share any of your care tips, please do. There's not an awful lot on there. I'd love to hear what you're finding in your situation. And if you're thinking about getting one of these and you do actually manage to get your hands on one of this and you want to ask some questions, again, use those comments down below and let's have that conversation. I think that's it for this one. I hope you've enjoyed. Have a good rest of the day and speak to you all soon. Bye.